Okay, good morning all. Let me start my class. I've already spent some 5 minutes for all of you to join. Okay. So first and the foremost thing which is very important for today's day is the internal assessment quiz which is happening today night at 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Right. There were a few doubts and queries which were mentioned in the WhatsApp group and things like that. The backend team here is trying to fix up all the login issues, right? If you are finding any issues with the login, you may please contact Mr. Raju T ISC department staff. He will be able to fix up all the login issues. That is the first and the foremost thing. Second, the duration of the quiz is only 30 minutes, but the window period for you to attempt is 1 hour, right? That is, the quiz will be open between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. And between that, you can take any half an hour time to finish off the quiz, right? It doesn't mean that it is 9 to 10, the duration is 60 minutes. It is only 30 minutes quiz. The timer has been set in the same way, right? And you will be given exactly 30 minutes to complete your quiz, right? So this is the second and the foremost very important instruction. The third, as you are already aware of, this is a Moodle based platform, right? The quiz questions are completely jumbled up, right? That is randomly shuffled. The person who is getting some set of questions will be different from the other person who will be getting it, right? So there is no chance that any two people will be getting the same set of questions in the same window page. That may not happen. And the third is, do not panic if there are issues in attending the quiz, right? That's the reason why yesterday the test coordinators have already done a trial run for a small DBMS quiz, and they have noted down all the issues with respect to login problems, right? Since you have your quiz of IoT at 6 p.m. today evening, priorly before that, make sure that all your login issues are rectified. You either contact Raju T or you either contact the test coordinators, ensure that you are able to log in into Moodle software. I repeat, this issue has to be rectified at this point of time, right? The reason is because we do not know when the college basically reopens, when we will be have the actual internal assessment test. We are not sure of that, right? To be on a safer side, we are conducting the online internal assessment quiz. One, similarly, we'll be conducting another internal quiz as and when the higher authorities instruct us to do so. Right? This is the second very important information. Do not worry about your degrees and other aspects. As per the directions of VTO, whatever has been told, we are looking into it and we are doing whatever is the best that is possible in this particular uncertain time which is going on in the society, right? And first and foremost, all of you, please stay safe wherever you are. Be safe, be healthy. Do not unnecessarily go out of your places for any such reasons, right? Ensure that you are completely safe at home, right? So the coming to the syllabus part of my course, which is big data analytics. So we had very small portions for coverage in the fourth and the fifth unit, and we have completed almost all of the algorithms except two or three algorithms which I'll be taking in a due course of time. Since we have already expedited much about the portions or the coverage of topics which is there in the syllabus, I would like to do some more topics which are the frontiers of applications which are there in big data analytics. Where are these applications used, right? What are the importance of these applications, right? So today's agenda for the class is a short agenda, right? Because I did not want to spend too much of time in the class, right? And I know that you need to very well prepare for your internal assessment tests. So I will not take too much of my class today, right? I'll be covering up a few highlights and will also be connecting with you tomorrow again for some more aspects of these applications. So without wasting any much of my time, uh, I am just trying to share the screen to all of you. Okay. So I just wanted to have a small highlights on what are the different applications of big data, right? We have so many such applications which we are trying to talk about, right? We have credit scoring, market basket analysis, or a recommender system. The recommender system is still in research today. Lot of scientists who are there in foreign universities. Many of you aspire to be to do your MS programs in US universities, right? The one of the very important programs that they offer is on data science, right? Where the core of research is basically focused on recommender systems. Then you have retention modeling and churn prediction, very important for today's telecom industries, right? How do you ensure that there is an absolute customer retention for their particular network, right? Then you have got response modeling, online analytics, right? This is one thing which Google is very famous for. Google Analytics has been popular for last 10 to 11 years, right? Where they have been doing analytics on the websites, analytics on the YouTube videos, analytics on various other aspects, right? Even today, when when I submit my video to YouTube channel, the Google has an analytics there where I can find out how many of you have basically done a view, right? How many of you have viewed the videos which has been uploaded in the CSE department channel, right? So all these kinds of analytics applications are very important in analyzing the trends and other aspects of where we are going and things like that. And we also know about social media analytics and social network analysis. We have already dealt with these two topics prior, just to highlight what are happening. The very important analytics today for today's environment is the fraud analytics. You see that lots of fraudulent data, identity theft, right? Cyber security thefts, vulnerability in cyber physical systems. These are very commonly being seen, right? We see that there was a lot of identity theft which happened with HOD's account and several other administrative people account in the college, right? And people have already been able to trace where the email has come from, who is trying to do the ID theft and things like that. Similarly, there are lots of credit card frauds, there are lots of bank frauds which basically happen, and this has to be detected on a real time basis, right? And to do the detection, you will have to analyze data which is very huge. You may have to analyze the list of transactions which are fraudulently done and try to undo such kind of fraudulent transaction, right? Many of your credit cards or debit cards comes with an assurance that if there is a loss of card and there is a transaction which is being committed with 75,000 and above or something like that, the undo option is available in such cases where the amount gets completely credited back to the user's account if it is being notified to the bank authorities. Likewise, fraud analytics has a very important future and frontier in cybersecurity as well as cyber criminal forensics, which is a topic of my research interest, and I see a lot of things happening in this particular domain as well, right? And then you have HR analytics, which is being used for many of the organizationals understanding of human resource requirements, retention, and other iteration rates and things like that. And then you have got process analytics, which is used for a lot of um, process-oriented aspects where the process takes a more importance than anything else. For example, many of your supply chain management, where process is very important. Analytics with respect to process is very important. For example, if you're talking about a pharmaceutical company, you need to know the amount of tablets that it has generated or the amount of medicines that it has generated, right? Today's scenario, if you can take, India is exporting hydroxychloroquine, right? The amount of hydroxychloroquine which is required for the nation, and that which can be exported has to be tabulated prior ahead of a week's requirement, and then it has to be exported in with respect to those calculations, right? And what is the manufacturing load, how many such kind of pieces have to be manufactured, and other things have to be calculated well in advance so that we have enough amount of resources that is available for the entire nation, and it can also help for the export and other aspects, right? So the first and the foremost is the credit scoring application, right? This was a very important application which came into existence very long back, but this is basically a credit risk management. The application basically deals with whether a customer who has applied for a loan or any kind of credit facilities can be given a credit facility or not. We are trying to determine that, right? The basic algorithm that runs behind this is the decision tree algorithm, and the basic scoring which is being conducted is the threshold scoring. If a customer goes beyond the threshold scoring, only then he can be offered some kind of a credit. If he does not have such credit scoring, he may not be offered any kind of credits, right? This is a probability estimation with the applicants where certain variables of the applicant becomes very important, something like age, income, marital status, years of experience, years at a particular address, right? So these are some of the aspects which becomes very important with respect to credit scoring, right? Now there is a bureau which basically calculates this credit scoring for anybody who has got a bank account, right? In India we have got a scoring called a CIBIL scoring, which will basically find out your credit rating out of 1000, right? In US it is between 300 to 350. In Australia and New Zealand there is a different uh, index. Germany uses a different index. Belgium uses a different index. And all of these is basically discussed elaboratively in this particular book, right? In this particular article, which is by Van Gestel, Credit Risk Management Basic Concepts, right? He has explained it very well of how do you determine the credit scoring and things like that. So you can also see that all of these credit scoring and whatever that we do are interdependent variables, right? Interdependent variables in the sense the probability calculation happens with respect to the values what is being captured for a particular applicant's variable. So you can see that there are characteristic attributes. Now this calculation is for a US credit calculation, right? You can see if the cutoff marks what he's supposed to get is 500, right? And a new customer applies for a credit. So his age is 32, gender is female. The salary what she gets is $1,150. Now for every case, there is a score point which is attached to it. For example, if you can see on the left hand side of the table, right, there are categories of age, right? This lady basically comes under the category of second category where she earns 120 points for her age. Then for the gender, she earns another 180 points. Then for the salary, whatever is the range of salary that she comes in, the bracket of salary what she comes in, she earns another 160 points for it. So the total points what she gets is 460 points for her existing whatever is the um, uh, facts of that particular person, right? So since she has got 460 points, she will not be offered any kind of credit. So then we have also seen a very important case of association rules, right? We have been doing association rules for a very long time in Unit 3 and Unit 4 and Unit 5, where we have seen what is the purpose of the association rules, how it can find frequent item patterns, which is being which is being purchased in a in a shopping center or an e-commerce site or something like that, right? Now, which of the products are frequently brought together? This is an input to the association rules or the pattern matching of these rules are an input to the recommender systems where you can use collaborative learning or any kind of learning methods to understand the behavior of that particular system and try to find out what is the recommended item with respect to that particular item that customer is trying to purchase. So association rules basically goes with a lot of things with the database, right? I would not like to repeat much because We have elaboratively gone through a priori algorithm. We have elaboratively gone through FP tree algorithm. We have gone through the generation of association rules in the last few classes, right? So I would not like to go through with these slides again, but again stressing on the fact of the rule based approach, which is very important to understand how the frequent items are being determined. Right, these were the examples that we saw in the last class as well. So you can see that based on the support and confidence value, you basically do the association rules, right? The support is the percentage of total transaction of the database that contains the item set. That is, X to Y support is number of transactions supporting X union Y divided by total number of transactions. Similarly, confidence is a conditional probability where support of X union Y divided by support of X. So based on that, you can calculate the item set. For example, the items which are being given here, the baby food, diaper, and Stella, right, has a support of 3 by 10, right? These transaction appears exactly in 3 transaction out of the 10 transaction snapshots what we have taken. So the support for it is 30%. Similarly, the association rule consisting baby food, diaper, and Stella has a confidence of 3 by 5. That is, these items appear in 5 transactions, and out of which 3 transactions has baby food and diaper together. So the confidence value for that particular association rule is 60%. So the association rule discovery is based on Cartesian product, right? There can be all possible ways of association rules, but the final shortlisted association rules is basically based on the minimum support and minimum confidence value what is being listed out for that particular problem. So we have seen the market basket analysis, which is a very popular case study under the association rules. And this is a point which is very important for me to stress about, right? The recommender systems are ruling the e-commerce side today, right? The reason is because the way or the modality of our commerce system which was there, that is the buying and selling or purchasing some items, has drastically changed over time, right? People used to go to a kirana shop, buy something and come back, and later on we moved to a situation of shopping malls or food malls where we started buying it with our own choices, right? Then we moved to a system of big baskets, Amazons, and things like that, where we started purchasing through an online interface. So things have changed, right? When you are talking about a complete online system, it requires you to support such kind of complex algorithms which help you to recommend certain items, right? For example, if someone buys a ghee, they may also be recommended something about a butter, right? Something like this of this kind of a combination may basically happen, right? So the recommender system is not only applicable for a e-commerce system, it is also applicable for um, Netflix or any kind of video streaming applications. You can see that if you start watching one particular movie, the second season or the third season of that particular movie will also be illustrated in the down, right? When you below the play button, you can see these videos, right? Similarly, if you go for any kind of Hotstar or any kind of application today, Disney Hotstar, if you start playing Star Wars episode 1, it automatically shows the remaining set of episodes which are available, which are associated with the same name, right? Likewise, e-learning content, the recommended content, you may see if you go to Coursera, or if you go to any kind of online platforms today, the contents are being recommended, right? If you say I choose blockchain, it may give you something related to advanced blockchains or any other learning certifications with respect to that, right? So most of these online systems that we talk about, whether they are used in e-business or video streaming applications or e-learning or whatever it is, they basically make use of a back-end recommender system, right? So the recommender system, for example, in a Amazon kind of a thing, let's say that you are trying to buy a book on analytics and big data, right? One of the very good books, right? So it basically refers, our customer also brought these items together. It refers to the same title or allied titles which are associated with this particular title, analytics in big data world, right? Similar kind of books are also available, right? If you go to Amazon, even my book is available today, right? If you say big data security, my book is also available today, right? So likewise, we have got so many other such kind of things, right? So this is how the recommender system becomes very important for many of the applications. So another important application is the churn prediction application. Right, today we are seeing a scenario where we have got only three telecom players, major telecom players, Airtel, Vodafone, and Jio. The scenario of a 2010 or a 2009 scenario was there were too many players, right? And that was a time when the trial, which is the authority of DOT, announced the very important plan called as mobile number portability plan. Now, with the importance of this particular plan, there came a scenario wherein which the customer could retain the same mobile phones and but be a part of another network, right? So with respect to this, many of the customers started moving from one particular network to another particular network. And one of the metrics which was used to understand this or which became very important for the vendor to ensure that the customer do not jump from their network to another network was the retention modeling or the churn prediction. So this is nothing but you are trying to retain the long-term customers who have been there with your uh, who have been there with you by offering them some more discounts or some more benefits of that particular network, so that they are there in the same network for a longer duration of time, right? So this retention or the churn prediction modeling significantly helps the telecom industries to retain people, right? Even today, when you say port space mobile number and send it to 1900 and you get a porting unique portability code, immediately your vendor calls up, right, saying why are you shifting from our network, what is the problem, right? So that it has become so important for them about their customers. Earlier, they were very bent upon having postpaid customers. Now the scenario is completely different. They are looking at retaining the prepaid customers because they are there for a longer duration of time than the postpaid customers, right? So the transaction versus the relationship between the customers becomes a very important trade-offs. Either you can improve the transaction or you can improve the relationships, right? If you try to improve the relationships, the profit for that particular company will be low. If you try to improve the transaction, the number of relations or the number of long-term customers or loyal customers will be low to you. So there is a trade-off that you basically have to maintain between transaction buyers and the relationship buyers, right? And that is what the retention model or the churn prediction model basically talks about. So how do you basically define a churn? Churn is nothing but contractual versus a non-contractual settings, right? The customer who cancels a contract, the customer who has not purchased any product or services during the last 3 months, right? You may see that if you port to a particular network vendor, you may stay with that particular network vendor for 90 days, which is exactly 3 months, right? So the different types of churn models are the active churn models, where the customer stops the relationship with the firm; passive model, where the customer decreases the intensity of relationship; forced model, where the company stops the relationship because of a fraud; expected churn, where the customer no longer needs the products or the services, something like baby products, right? After the baby grows, you may not need a baby product, right? So that is what are the different types of churns. the prediction is also based on different predictive models, right? The predictive models are based on the demographic data, which includes location, age, gender, marital status, relationship variables, length of the relationship, number of products that the customer has purchased, right? Products and services usage data, number of transactions that he has created in the last month, the trends of usage, complaint data, the number of the complaints that the person has uh, placed in the last several months, and which has been served or which has not been served, which is a very important indicator to understand whether a person stays in the network or goes out of the network, right? Then you have got RFM data and social network information, which are additional data to it. So RFM data is nothing but this was a data which was established in 1977. It is recency, frequency, and monetary. Number of months since the last purchase, frequency of purchase, right? Dollar value of that particular purchase is what was made, right? Now, this is one of the variables which will basically talk about the retention of the customer in a particular product segment. So the next type of application, what we are trying to deal with, is the customer acquisition or the response modeling, right? This response modeling is a feedback based network, right? All of you basically give feedback to faculties, feedback to a system, feedback to some kind of a event that you have basically attended, right? All these kinds of feedbacks, whatever that is being provided, are basically are to be analyzed, understood, and find out what are the lacuna or what are the plus points in the system and things like that. So to do that, the response modeling kind of a analytics will be used. Now, this response kind of a modeling basically tries to identify customers who have largely responded for various information, something like relationship variables, demographic variables, RFM variables, and social network information, right? Usually, you may observe very importantly that many of the e-commerce sites or any of the sites tries to link with your social network IDs. This is called as open ID authentication system, right? The reason is because they may be promoting a particular product, they may be promoting something else, they may not be promoting anything, they may be involved in a lot of comments, likes, and other things on a daily basis, right? So this is basically to understand the behavior of the customer. We are trying to understand what is he trying to look out for and things like that, right? For example, the first time when a 4G phone came into picture in India, people were so excited about it, right? And they started commenting about it in the Facebook and things like that, saying that it's a cool data speed. You can access data at a very high speed at any locations and things like that. So these are some of the new technologies which come in, and people will be very closely observing about it in the social network pages of yours. So similarly, you can also see some kind of online analytics, right? As I earlier mentioned, that Google is a very famous for in this particular segment. Google had analytics for last 11 years, 11 to 12 years, right? Where they have been trying to do analytics with respect to a particular page, analytics with respect to anything, right? When you go to a Google search and type a particular word or whatever it is, the way in which the indexing happens is based on the analytics. It based on the number of times a particular item has been frequently searched, right? There are page ranking algorithms which are used to understand this, right? For example, if I say something about a particular celebrity, right? The closest website which was talking more about it will be listed first, then the other websites will be listed later on. So this is basically based on the analytics, right? For example, if I search for a movie, Star Wars episode 10 or something like that, right? So there it shows where it is available, what are the details of it. Based on the search, it will basically categorize the links, right? So the analytics has been there for a very long time, right? It is there in YouTube, it is there in every place. Even today, you can understand if you have created your own website or a blog, You can understand number of returning users, number of users who have accessed that particular blog from various places, right? And you can see the leads have come from, whether it is from the same country or it has come from the different country. You can try analyzing that in different ways, right? This is a very important a step in understanding the system. So the online analytics is basically nothing but the data collections, which is basically stored in the web server logs, right? The web server logs stores the data in this particular way, right? And tagging these web page with the code snippet referencing to the JavaScripts is one more thing, right? And you can also see that there are small text web servers which basically stores it as a cookie, right? So that it can be easily loaded, right? Again, the privacy factor of these cookies are questionable. So there are different tools which are used for understanding the dashboard. One such tool is the KPI monitoring tool, which is used for understanding the analytics trends and things like that. If you log in into the KPI monitoring tool, you can see that it shows the directions, average duration that is being spent, the Google referred visits, percentage of errors, visit total, Yahoo referred sites, and things like that. Right? You can see the performance, short term, long term, the forecast, the trends, what was there with respect to that particular monitoring. These are all the aspects which are clearly visible to you in your dashboards, right? Likewise, any particular website, whatever that we are trying to talk about, can be monitored, can be analyzed with a lot of analytical aspects. So online analytic challenges are the data is extremely messy. There is a lot of pre-processing that happens before the system starts, right? Because there are lots of noisy data that can come into this kind of a processing model. Trends and segmentations are to be separated, right? Then you have a lot of metrics that overload each other, right? So a few of the metrics which are very important is the bounce rate, the number of times, the ratio of visitors who have visited and left instantly, or the conversion rate, the percentage of visitors who have visited, who have observed that particular event, done some process in that particular site, and come back, right? These are some of the things which are important. You can also integrate online and offline based customer data in this uh, place. The next such application is the social media analytics. So we have seen social media analytics to be very important these days. The reason is because everything is closely observed on your social media pages, may it be Facebook, may it be Twitter, or may it be any kind of social media networks, right? People are observing you, and all the applications, whatever that is being deployed, uses the either the Facebook authentication ID or a Twitter authentication ID to log in. They have become an open ID authentication systems now, right? For example, if you see, if you have got 7 app, right, Geo 7 app, you can link your account to Facebook, right? And it understands the behavior of the user. If the person likes lot of Kannada songs, it automatically searches Kannada related ones and shows it in their page, right? There are sentiment analysis which are done and carried out at the back end, right? So these are very important to understand the customer strategies, customers behavior, and things like that. So you can see that there are lots of CRM strategies, customer relationship management strategies, which are also incorporated today in the social media. Right, many of them who have got access to the social media, whether the corporates or any other companies, will keep looking at the behavior of the person. Right, for example, in Facebook, you may be seeing certain links, and suddenly you see an advertisement which comes in. Right, you may have previously searched about these advertisements. Right, For example, let's say that I'm trying to book a flight to Delhi, right? So when you're trying to book a flight to Delhi, that details will be available in a cache, right? And immediately when you open up Facebook, when you're scrolling through down, it shows you low cost flyer from Bangalore to Delhi at so and so rupees, right? Like that, right? Where the customer gets interested about that particular ad item and starts looking very seriously about it. So these are all CRM strategies, right? For example, you have looked something into Flipkart, right? Some new apparel or some new gadget or something like that, right? Once when you return back to your Facebook page and see it, if you are browsing it on a desktop machine, you can see ads which are relevant to it, which keeps appearing, right? So these are all CRM strategies where people try understanding the behavior of the customer and try offering something on the social media page. So the social network analysis also we have done, right, earlier, right? These are all some of the references which I am giving you at the bottom of my slide. At every page you may see that there are lots of papers which are available with respect to research papers which are available with respect to these topics, right? Especially when you go to research academia.edu or any other kind of sites, you can see that there are lots of research authors who are available. Their citations and other things are very easily available and things like that. So the example of social media network which we have seen in the telecom context is a traditional churn prediction models to understand the customer isolations, understand the recommendation of a particular network to appear, or a mouth-to-mouth publicity, or social media influence in a promotion of a particular operator, or things like that, and then reduce tariffs for intra-operator traffic and things like that. These are all something which are being used by many of the other domains. For example, Swiggy announces some kind of a discount. The first thing that appears for a person who is who is very closely a customer who is closely associated with Swiggy may be able to see that in his Facebook accounts or the social media accounts, where they say in this particular lockdown you've got so and so kind of a discount, order something. We are ensuring completely contactless delivery. These kind of things basically comes in such kind of systems, right? You may see such kind of promises being made in the social network accounts and things like that. So what I would like to do is I would like to stop at this for today, and I would like you to go through some of the topics in the module 1 and module 2, especially relating to Hadoop. Lot of important questions are there with respect to that. I have seen a lot of you appearing for a sample quiz which was conducted on the Google form, right? I wish you can attend this particular course and this quiz with lot of success, and there are no issues in attending the quiz, right? And please go through all the topics which has been um, very closely being put up. The sort of the number of questions which is there in a quiz is 30 questions only. So every question is one mark. So you get the total of 30 minutes to attend the quiz.